Today I'm going to show you how to teach your dog 3 cool tricks. Those tricks are sit pretty, play dead, and bark on cue. So to teach sit pretty, we use a food lure. What we do here is we get your puppy into a sit, we put the food lure on the puppy's nose, and we gently go up. As soon as your puppy's feet go in the air, yes, and then treat. And what you want to do is you want to keep repeating this process. Yes, good job. We go up again. Yes, good. Keep in mind that sometimes when you're first teaching this, you may use the lure and your puppy will spring out of it like that. If that happens, try and make sure the lure is close to the dog's nose. If it's too far up, you will find they'll spring out of the position like that. So what we do is we get them into a sit. Just in front of you is fine. Really close to his nose. Just here. Yes, and then we break them out. Remember, with your sit pretty position, there's a start and an end point. One is when we say sit pretty, the end is when we release them off. So it's important you get the puppy to try and hold it. Yes, and then release them off. Once we've got that, we're going to fade that lure out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the food away, and we're going to go like that, and we want to see if we can get him to hold. Yes, and then release. And we try again. We're not going to put a verbal cue on this yet until it's super reliable. So we go again. Yes, good, and then we release him off. You don't want a dog to hold this for too long, just nice short stuff initially. Yes, good, and we break him off. You will find as well, this is fairly taxing on your dog's core. You may need to do this in very small sessions. You will find that you might get 5 or 10 minutes out of your puppy before they start getting tired, so reset and try again in a few hours later. Yes, good job, well done. Yes, good. Once you've lured the puppy up, and you've done this numerous times, and your puppy's really reliably doing this, you then might fade out the lure a little bit. So you take the lure a bit further away. You might still have the food in your hand, just here, and you get him into a set, and you go up. Yes, and then release your puppy off. Once you fade out the lure, you can start to take the food away. What you might have here is just a hand signal going up. That's all I use for Riley. All we're going to do here, yes, good, and then break him off. Once we've done this a couple of times, yes, good. We're then going to start to add in a cue. So my cue for this is sit pretty. You can use whatever cue you like as long as you're consistent. So you'll say, sit pretty, yes, and then break him off. And we're going to do that again. Sit pretty, yes, good. And again, we want the puppy to hold that until release. You want to build that duration over time. Sit pretty. Yes, good. Once your dog's got really good at this, you can fade out the hand signal. So you can just do a verbal, sit pretty. Yes, and then break him off. And you can see really quickly, Riley's now knows to hold this position until released. Sit pretty. Yes, good boy, good. This trick is play dead. We're also adding in a little bonus trick on this, combining tricks 1 and tricks 2 together, the play dead and the sit pretty, so it looks even cooler. For this trick, you want your puppy down into a down position to start with. You eventually want to be able to do this in a sit, in a stand, or if your dog's running around, etc. To start with though, we do it in a down. So you've got to make sure that you can get your puppy down into a down position, so practice your downs if you haven't got those. What we need to look for here is that you can see Riley's hips are in what we call a sphinx down. It's completely symmetrical. There is no rotation at all in the hips. What we want to do is we want to play around with the lure until we get a little roll. Until we get a roll in those hips. You can see there he's rocked the hip. As soon as we get that, then I can flip him to the side. Yes, and then treat. And I'm going to repeat that process again. You basically want to repeat this 10, 20 times before you expect to add anything else. So again, he's in a sphinx down there where his hips are nice and even. They're rotated. As soon as they're rotated, I can flip him over. Yes, and then treat. And then I want to repeat that over and over again. So I get him here with the food. I flip him to the side. Yes, and then treat. Rotate his head to the side, nice and slow. Yes is the key. If you do this too quick, your dog won't do it. You also want to make sure that you do this nice and slow. If you go too fast, you'll find that your dog feels a little bit too pressured to do it. So you want to make sure that your dog's nice and comfortable in this the whole time. Yes, and treat. Once we've got that, we can start to fade the lure out. We want to form this more of a hand, into more of a hand signal. So the way we do that is I'll make it a little quicker and a little smoother. So it'll be straight over, yes, and treat. We go again, straight over, yes, and treat. Then I can start to take the food away. So I'm going to take my food away here, and I'm just going to do the action. Yes, and then I feed. And we go again. So I just do a little action like this, as if I've got the food. So I go again, rotate over, yes, and then I feed. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to loosen off the hand signal a little bit further. So with this hand signal, I'm going to take it a little bit further away from his head. Yes, good boy. And I'm going to start to form this into the shape of a gun. So it'll be like this. It's going to be sideways to start with. It'll be that little action. Yes, and I'm going to treat. And I'll go again. And have him down into a drop. Yes, and then treat. And then once I start getting really good at it, yes, and treat, I can start to change that little action into more of a gun sort of action there. So we're going to see how we go. I'll get my treats ready in my other hand. So I have him down into a drop. Yes, and then treat. So I'll try again. So you can see I'm slowly progressing this out. Yes, and then treat. And then I can start to add in the verbal cue. So I'm starting to add in the verbal cue. I'll go into a drop. Bang. Yes, and then treat. The next step is once we've got this verbal cue, we've got the bang, and the action is you want him to hold that bang. Yes, until released. So I basically hold my gun action there, and then once he's suitably, or once he's demonstrated he's play dead for long enough, I release him out of it with a marker. So I go again, bang. Yes, and then I break him out. And then I want to practice from different positions. So now I might try this from a sit. Bang. Bang, you might shoot them twice if you, yes, if they're not quite in position, that's completely fine, adds to the theatrics of this. Bang, we go again, bang, yes, and then we release him off. And again, you might try this from anywhere, you might try it from a distance, so we might have the dog out into a sit position out here, stay, good, couple of steps out, bang, bang, good boy, bang, we shoot him 3 times, yes, and then we mark and reward. And that is how you teach play dead. The bonus part of this exercise is putting the tricks together. So what we do here is trick 1, which was sit pretty, and then we've got the play dead. Now what I've done here is I have taught him that stick 'em up means sit pretty, so you can basically start to, instead of saying sit pretty in trick 1, you might use the verbal stick 'em up, and then I'll do this. So you go stick 'em up, bang, good, bang, yes, and then treat. So all we're doing here is combining both together. You can even say, sit pretty, bang, and then eventually, bang, yes. Eventually change that to a stick 'em up. So again, we'll go here, stick 'em up, bang, bang, yes, good. And we go from there. Riley likes doing the double bang for a bit more theatrics, but it's completely up to you how you want to hold your dog for that criteria. So with this trick, we're going to teach your dog how to speak or bark on cue. There's numerous ways to do this exercise. This is the way I did it. I'll give you a few little tips on how you can do it if this isn't working. Basically, we have to find something that prompts your dog to bark. With me, I built up frustration with this guy. So he really likes chasing balls. His name's Neo, he's 11. I built up frustration with him by basically trying to not quite throw the ball, but rev him up a little bit. And as soon as he barked, I threw the ball out. Now you can do this with absolutely anything. This could be a tug toy. It could be throwing a treat and holding the dog back until they bark and then letting them over. All you're doing there is trying to create some kind of environment where the dog is going to bark. The other way you can do it is with a door at home. So if your dog barks when someone knocks at the door, you can even knock on your kitchen bench. If that causes a bark, you're going to yes and then treat. In this case, we're going to use the ball to obtain this. But either way, you want to try and get something to prompt the dog to bark, mark and then reward until it becomes really reliable. So I basically get this ball, I rev him up a little bit until we get a bark, and you can see he's looking at it, he's looking to try. I try again. Come on, buddy. Come on. Yes, good boy. And then as soon as I get a bark, I throw the ball. So you can see here, I really want to make it look like I'm throwing. I want to make it exciting to almost frustrate him a little bit. So I get the ball, I'm like, you ready? Come on, you ready? Yes, good boy, good. As soon as we get a bark, I yes and then throw. We keep repeating this until he knows exactly how to get that ball to release. So we'll rev him up. Ready? Yes, good boy. And you can see he's picking this up quicker and quicker. We want to repeat this over and over again until he starts to realize that barking immediately gets me to release this ball. You ready? Yes, good boy, good. Once I've got him nice and reliably barking to release the ball, now I'm going to start to add in the cue. Only ever add in any verbal cue when it's nice and reliable. So in this case, I'm going to use the word speak for him. You can use any word you like, bark, speak, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Speak. Yes, good boy, good. So as soon as you get it, you're going to yes and then throw the ball again. And here, speak. Yes, good boy. And here, speak. Yes, good boy. And here, speak. Yes, good boy, good. So now that we've got him speaking with the ball, what we want to do now is take the ball away and change up the reinforcer to something a little bit more functional. So if you're out in public and you want him to bark, or you're at a party trick, for example, we don't want to be just using it with the ball. We want to be able to use that with everything. So now I've got some food. He knows what the cue is now. So now I'd go, speak. Yes, good boy, and I give him a treat, right? And then we go again. So I'll bring him in. That's all right, mate. Hey, speak. Yes, good boy, good. So I'm starting to mark and reward with food instead of the ball now. Speak. Yes, good boy, good. And we go again. Speak. Yes, good boy, good. Speak. Yes, good. And then you can start to get him to do it, multiple times. Speak, speak, speak. Yes, good boy, good. And that's how we teach a dog to speak. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Is there a party trick that you want me to teach? Let us know in the comments.